My computer is slow, sorry. So the title of Dr. Verde's talk is The Neapolitan Paradox: From World-Class Cultural Heritage to Toxic Commodification. And we are very happy to have Dr. Verde here with us today. He is the president of the Accademia Napoletana, Tutela, Cultura, Lingua Napoletana, and also director of the Free Chair of Neapolitan Language and Culture at the National University of La Plata. We look forward to learning information about the situation with linguistic situation in Naples. And I thank Dr. Verde for being with us, and also I thank Dr. Kazakiewicz for letting us know each other. And now it's time for you, Dr. Verde, to begin your presentation. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. For me, it's a privilege and an honor to try to explain this very strange situation about an heritage, an international heritage that is a Neapolitan language, culture, tradition. The first thing that I remember, I have to say, for example, is if we can think about the international song, O Sole Mio, was composed in Odessa. It is just a base to understand the internationally, the transnationality of our language. But in this, well, if we can explore this situation about an historical language, literature, theater, song, music, that is a language and an heritage distinct from Italian. It's one other language. It's one other identity. It's one other heritage. It's one other culture. A cosmopolitan culture, but very, very autonomous. And this is also since the birth of this language. For example, we have to say that Neapolitan not derives from classical Latin, but from vulgar Latin, but, and this is very important, with the substrate from Oscan and Greek. The Oscan, as I try to explain in this picture, is the ancient population of the Italic peninsula. They arrived before the colonization of Greek. Naples then became the capital of Magna Graecia. But before, we have the first linguistical unity in the Italic peninsula, thanks to Oscan language. And when, for example, the first from in the central southern Italy, the modern southern central or the central southern Italy, and in effect, when the UNESCO give the ISO code NAP to the Neapolitan language as a different language from Italian, not just a dialect of Italian. As I tried to show in this map, the UNESCO reflects the original diffusion of this ancient linguistical heritage, the Oscan. That is very important because, for example, in the fourth corpus in corpus inscriptionum Latinarum, in the age of Roman Pompeii, we say that Pompeii is not a Roman city, but an Oscan, and also with the influence of Etruscan, no? But also in this corpus, the fourth corpus in scriptorum Latinarum, we have the transcription, no? The graffiti in Pompeii that, for example, it's very clear the influence also in the Roman age of Pompeii of this Oscan language. And it's very important because we find this heritage also in the modern actual Neapolitan, Napolitana. For example, we say that in Latin, verecundus, no? Okay, in Italian is verecondo, but in that, for example, in one of that inscription, no? The corpus, we say verecundus. It's with double L. This is, well, technically is the assimilation, no? Assimilation. This is an example of an influence of this ancient Oscan language also in the Latin period of Pompeii. And this is very important because in the actual Neapolitan, for example, well, the word wave in Italiano, non Italian, is onda, and D. In Neapolitan, we reflect this ancient Oscan heritage. We say not onda and D. We say onna and N with this assimilation. This is this is just an aspect to testify the importance of this Oscan language also in the Latin period. And this is very important because I try to successfully, I don't know if because I I try to, okay. And this is very important because Neapolitan language, well, of course, has Latin, vulgar Latin origin, but with, as I said, Oscan heritage influence. And then, of course, being Naples, the capital of Magna Graecia, we say, and the UNESCO confirmed this with the sentence, no, the declaration of historical center of Naples as UNESCO World Heritage Site, 1997, because UNESCO, of course, testify, no, the influence of this original identity that is linguistical also identity of Naples, linguistic practices or heritage, no, with our Neapolitan city, and the contribution, the cultural contribution of Naples, not just in Europe, but also abroad. For example, in my case, we have also a contribution, no, cultural contribution, for example, in Latin America. And we also, if we successfully, we can also remember, for example, the influence of the Neapolitan school of also Russia, no? With Paisiello, Cimarosa in the centuries. So the importance of this heritage is the importance of this linguistical heritage. Because, for example, in our language, in Neapolitan language, survives a Greek, an ancient Greek vocalism. And this is testified from my friend of the University of Athens, Professor Bekakos, no? Bekakos. This is in intonation, no? Vocalism is specifically of Neapolitan. For example, we don't say, for example, no, just an example, we don't say in Italian, for example, the president of our football club, no, is the pronunciation, no, is for example De Laurentiis, the surname, his surname. But in our vocalism, in our pronunciation, is De Laurentiis, as Bekakos. And this is very important because in our language, not just we have an Oscan, an ancient Oscan influence, but and also of course posteriorly then Vulgar Latin, but also a Greek vocalism. And also one other thing very important, I think, well, in Italian, I have to say people that are not from south or people from the center, the northern of Italy, they joke with us when we speak, we pronounce, we have just this pronunciation. No? For example, in Italian is spada. In Neapolitan is spada, with the sibilant S. Well, this is one other influence, cultural and linguistical influence over the ancient Greek. Maybe dark, but we don't know exactly. One other, and also to return to this picture, the marble, we have, I put this picture about the marble base with a dedication in Greek to Phaetri of Cumae and the early 2nd century AD. This is very important because our social organization was and is actually, well, also in our bit anarchy, social anarchy, is very deeply Greek. The Phaetri is the ancient Greek organization, the Greek when arrival in Naples or when arriving in Campania, no? the Campania Felix, no? We have all the discuss about Virgilio. Vigilius talk about Campania Felix, and but for example, San Lazzaro, no? Then speak about Arcadia, but the Arcadia is the Campania Felix, the bucolica of Vigilius. Vigilius write bucolica in Campania, in Naples. So it is very important. I want to say that our language, our linguistical heritage, our philosophical language, in which way our language is expressed, no? It's very Greek. It's very Epicurean. It's very classic. And this is very important to say because in Italian school system doesn't teach about all this. They introduce the standard Italian, Dante Alighieri. Well, Dante Alighieri we know that Dante Alighieri put their hand in the Sicilian language, the Provençal language, and not just this, to evolve to, well, some professors say that he elaborates Dante a language a tavolino. He invents Tuscany, Italian, the dialecto fiorentino. But this is very important, because he utilizes the Provençal, Sicilian linguistic heritage. And before Dante Alighieri, we have the first document before 1960, the first official distinction from classical Latin and a new Romance language, the Placido Capuano. The Placido Capuano is a document for a judge. It's a sentence of a judge about the monkey of Monte Cassino. They when the judge transcribe the sentence or the dispositive of the sentence, he utilizes the vernacular of Campania. The Apulian, the vulgar Apulian that Dante said turpiter barbarizan. So our history and the shame that Italian culture put on our people as a very ancient history. The Neapolitan pupils, Neapolitan students are totally stripped away of our culture, about our linguistic grammar or orthography. And this is a great problem because in this way, Italian state also put a violation about the Article 9 of the Italian Constitution. That we say that Italian Constitution is an anti-fascist, derived from the battle of resistance, But the problem is that the Article 9 of our Constitution, the Italian Constitution, say that the Republic have to respect the heritage, the cultural heritage of the nation. And in which way is it possible respect the cultural heritage of the Italian state, of the Italian history, if the Neapolitan is not teaching? It's our pupils don't know anything about the Placido Capuano, or for example another document, the official document in the Volgare Pugliese, the first on archaic Neapolitan, that is the letter from Joanna I, Queen of Jerusalem and Sicily, to Niccolò Acciaiuoli, Grand Seneschal in Nocera, Naples. This is an official document by Joanna I in the local vernacular language. Our pupils, our Neapolitan pupils, are stripped away about this because Italian scholar system doesn't permit to receive this information. And this is a it's also a violation about the Convention of the Rights of the Child, particularly the Article 29, that say that the Italian state has to permit to defend the identity and the language of the child. Well, if our language is a mother language, L1, it's not just for us, also for the population of the migrant population, it's the first. They when arrive in Naples, for example, Ivorian people we say in cooperation with the embassy of Côte d'Ivoire. Well, the first language that immigrants learn when they arrive in Naples, it's not Italian, but it's Neapolitan. And the problem is that we have a mother tongue, an historical linguistical heritage from Oscan to Placido Capuano through Greek influence, but our pupils, our community, and also our diaspora, for example, in Argentina, or in Latin America, or the United States, lost our language. And this is a great problem. Well, we have other documents in Neapolitan, the Epistola, Neapolitan Epistola, Neapolitan letter about Boccaccio. Boccaccio, that is considered a father of Italian language, Tuscan language dialect, when you prefer, wrote in Neapolitan. And wrote in Neapolitan because he said he respected our mother language. One other document, well, all that I show you, it's impossible to find in a scholar program in Italy. This is a great. For example, one other document very important is the Codice Aragonese, ossia the Aragonese Code, 15th century, in which King Alfonso V and Fernando, his son, write official document of the Aragonese court in Neapolitan, archaic Neapolitan, but in Neapolitan. So our language was not just social or folkloristical language, but was a language, official language, a literature language. And this is, for example, one other testimony of this. Well, here I have here I put a college, no? Pardon. This is a refrain, various documents. But for example, no, we have the Locunto degli Conti on the left. Locunto degli Conti, the tale of the tales, Pentamerone of Giambattista Basile, that represent fundamental text in the history of European narrative tradition. Why? Because it anticipated by several centuries the first tale collection, later developed, no, from the brother Grimm, Perrault and brother Grimm. Also include, for example, Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty. And the Locunto degli Conti is not Italian language, because in Italian is il racconto dei racconti, but in Neapolitan is Locunto degli Conti. Well, it's a bestseller, we can say, and also, Giambattista Croce defined the most artistic, no, of all books of popular tales. But because it is in Neapolitan, it's a great testimony, no, of the example of a cosmopolitan cultural expression. We have a synthesis, an harmonic synthesis in this Locunto degli Conti, the tale of tale, a synthesis of harmony about not just the tales from east to west, recovered this book, but in which way we have the several influence, cultural, linguistic influences that are synthesized in full harmony in literature, in Neapolitan literature, lo punto dei punti. I have to say also that when a director put in with a movie this book, or terrible transportation movie in cinema, he realized the movie's name is the name of this movie was The Tale of a Tale in English and in Italian, not in Neapolitan, in Italian, Il racconto dei racconti. This is the example of which Italian culture treat our language, use our language and our culture to make show, to make business. And I try to explain this problem in Italy, because Neapolitan today is, when I explain in another discussion, conversation with the excellent Professor Olga, in Italian movie and also internationally with fiction movie, show, cabaret, Neapolitan is over is for in every part, in every side. We are full of Neapolitan, but which kind of Neapolitan has got our children the possibility to know our grammar, the possibility to know our orthography, the possibility to know Giambattista Basile? No. They has the possibility just to say Gomorrah, a criminalization of our culture, or our linguistical heritage, just as something of a folkloric cabaret and worse, a false cultural resistance. This is very is a very very strange situation, because everyone present introduce our language as a language of culture, urban song, protest, resistance, and but our children in the same time are losing grammar, orthography. We have the Accademia della Crusca. Our problem is, pardon for my passion, we have the Crusca Academy that is involved to defend Neapolitan dialect. I want to say that we have a situation, actually, I can define a situation of internal colonialism, paternalism, and folklorization of our language. In this picture, we have the giants of our theater, Raffaele Viviani, Lucello, Petito, and so our song, theater and song, Enrico Caruso, O Sole Mio, it was composed in Odessa, we said, and Tu scendi dalle stelle quando nasce Min, I mean Sant'Alfonsus de Liguori, with the magical tradition about Neapolitan nativity that is expressed in Neapolitan language, but all that is not introduced in a national Italian scholar program. Why? Because Neapolitan has to be used like something to sell. And and in a toxic brand. In I mean, our language is reified within global media economies as a toxic brand in a reductive, commodified representation. Well, this is a clear example in about in which way our deeply culture between sacred and sacred profile, no? In our language, our tradition, our popular tradition is used in our time as a something of a master. This is a Italian a representation in Italian television of our tradition, no? Popular tradition. And also we have an example of in which way Romance, Italian literature, used by local intelligentsia, because this is our problem. It's the problem of every internal colonialism, to have a local intelligentsia that work for national central cultural system. A disaster, an anthropological disaster. I mean, we assist a commodification of Neapolitan popular religiosity. That not just Catholic. Also in this, we have very anarchical. One other example of this disaster, this anthropological, a cognitive and anthropological heart, and Gomorrah, the Gomorrah paradigm. We say, no, this is something, this is developed in an international way between, for example, at work, for example, Sky, no, with this actor that tried to speak in Italian, pardon, lapsus, in Neapolitan, with an horrible Neapolitan, using the mafia style. So we have our pupils that are in this anthropological disaster. We and our children suffer a systematic disenfranchisement. Our language is the language of the mafia, and our children have to find their cultural value and the value of our language, not just in Giambattista Basile, not just in an Oscan heritage, Greek heritage, no, but in the language of mafia. This is a disaster, anthropological disaster. We have entire generation of Neapolitan that live and grow with this example. Effective criminal remodulation, no? Criminal remodulation of Neapolitan. This is another disaster. This is the movie that of Paolo Sorrentino. It was the Hand of God, dedicated to Diego Armando Maradona. Diego Armando Maradona also suffered this McDonaldization. If you pass me this marketing style, we have this is disaster. I talk about this image in the Palace of Justice in Naples, with in a conference with with the Order of Lawyers of Naples to represent a Neapolitan woman. This is in this image, we have represented a Neapolitan woman in this degraded way. She talk in a degraded language, and which we have represented our woman in a Lombrosian linguistic gender, because the Lombrosian and fascist ideology is a very, very anti-Southern Italian against Southern and Neapolitan culture and community. It's a very today. It's a very, very, very strong. It's deeply in our culture, this shame. But the problem is, and I write also I wrote this about several articles. I also cooperate with in Brazil with uh, with a review of civil rights. This is one other problem, because no one Italian, I don't like this term, but I have to say that, no one Italian feminist said nothing about this representation of our woman, of a Southern woman in this way, and this image come all around the world. So our women are represented in this way. It's a shame. The problem, our internal colonialism, no, is very clear, because when I put this image in the Justice Palace of Naples, o Tribunal in Neapolitan language, the female lawyers smiling, and this is the exact example of our internal colonization. I said, well, you smile, I don't smile, because my uncle, because my mother is not that. When my mother speak Neapolitan, they speak not in a correct way, but with dignity, not in the way is which is represented our woman towards this image, this movie, and this image was developed all around the world, in Italy, in Europe, in the United States, in Latin America, and everywhere. I invite you to see the sequence of this movie. She acts with an animal, I have to say that, speaking a brutal and degraded language. Also, for example, with Ferrante, my brilliant friend, we have Neapolitan represent our language as a language of the victimization of that kill woman. It is there is a terrible sequence of my brilliant friends in which the father say in Neapolitan, tu si femmina in basco, I mean, you are woman, you cannot go at the school. So in this scene, in a Lombrosian representation, the father used his language, Neapolitan native language, to kill and to make violence against the daughter. And also, for example, in my brilliant friends, we have this woman that is quite ontologically a victim because she was born in Naples. This is our disaster. This is anthropological disaster, and this disaster is represented in the about the representation of our language. Actually, our language is a language of criminality, a language of cabaret, a language of the victim, of the woman that is victim of the patriarchy, and worse. We have one other representation. I mean, the heroine that a woman, no, that is. I try to. This is a scene about a romance in Neapolitan romance, in which we have on the balcony, a Neapolitan woman of a Neapolitan accent that put waste on the balcony. Classical degradation representation about the degradation of our culture, of our people, the Lombrosian ideology. And under the balcony, I don't know if it's clear. Under the balcony, there is one other woman. She is the heroine that saved the anthropological disaster, degradation of our community, but just one. Well, Gramsci said about genius, no? It's also the genius, the solitary genius, this way, a solitary woman, no? In anthropological disaster, in a Lombrosian social degradation disaster. Well, to explain, we have this woman degraded that that put waste from the balcony, and she speaks Neapolitan, or more strong Neapolitan. And under the balcony, we have one other woman, an heroine of the neighbor, that speak Italian, but Neapolitan with a soft Neapolitan accent, but and also she's thin in a northern style, occidental style. Remember this. She is fat. She's degraded. She has to represent the popular Neapolitan woman, Signora Gentile. She speaks in a degraded Neapolitan language, but on the right we have, well, it's not clear, but if you want, I can send later a pics of this. This is Mina Settembre, the romance, the fiction, but she's on the left. She's thin. She's in a northern Italian style. She speaks Italian with a soft accent, Neapolitan accent, and she said to this woman on the balcony, "It's your shame, it's your heritage, it's your culture, it's your language that put this is responsible of our situation, social situation." The woman on the left said, "I am in one other I am in one other phase of social evolution. I speak Italian. I speak an accent with Neapolitan accent, but I speak Italian. I am thin, I'm correct, and I represent the exact representation, no, of a Neapolitan woman." Well, we can define synthetically in anthropology we explain about the white feminism, no? This is a clear example. Well, remember this, and remember the woman on the balcony, and this thinner woman, Neapolitan Italian woman that speak against the people, against the popular woman. This is the shame. And this is a fiction, no? Developed in the full Italy, no? Well, some example of my work with the order of lawyers in Naples. I try to explain all this, of course, also about for example, not to explain that all this shame, this anthropological disaster that we suffer, no, that is represented as something of a nice, of a cultural renaissance, no, but it's a disaster because our children don't know our grammar, don't know our language, and the power. These the suffer just a manipulation, no, cultural manipulation from the national central power. Well, this is also a document that is inserted in the dossier of UNESCO. Is the Tutela protection of the multilingualism that I realized with the patronage of the Neapolitan Order of Lawyers, and also with the consulate of Nicaragua in Naples. I am in the biblioteca of the ancient Justice Palace, Aragonese Justice Palace of Naples, Castel Capuano. Well, this is another example. I don't know if you are able to see the twist image. This is a document, the state of art of indigenous languages in research, in which is inserted all that I'm discussing with you. I mean the situation about the Neapolitan, the degraded situation of our children and our women, and finally of our dignity as a community, as a people. Pardon for my passion, but in Italy, I cannot enter in an Italian university to say that. I was obliged to realize a Cátedra of Neapolitan language culture in Argentina, in Latin America. Well, this is me for the second day, International Day of Right, Civil Right, with the discussion right of family, Italian family, in the lower civil Napolitan civilization. I spoke about Giambattista Vico against the algorithm, but this is one other history. And I say that I realized that in Brazil, I cooperate also with Professor Pietro Nadella Dell'Ova, and I was there for the second time, the Faculty of Right in the University of Unianceta. And now my academy was also a patronage, realized also a patronage for this second International Day of Civil Rights. Always in Brazil, juridical civilization, Neapolitan civilization, the human rights about the child to protect Neapolitan language, the ancestral Neapolitan language. And also I'm here on in the Palace of Lawyer in Jundiaí in Brazil. We cooperate also with them. I am here in the French Institute of Naples, and also one other time in Brazil for the first International Congress of Direito Penal, the criminal right in the University of Caridi to explain our situation. One other documents, the first book in Neapolitan, Valencian, and Spanish, Neapolitan language, heritage, and universal language in danger. Also, my experience with the Institute of Athens. I also realize I write in Neapolitan directly in Neapolitan with some papers or with some articles also. This is me with the for the exhibition to promote Giambattista Basile, no? Lo Punto dei Punti, Hotel of Hotel in Giuliano, that is near Naples. I proposed and realized an exhibition about a documentary exhibition about Giambattista Basile. We also transmit that in the school. Me and well, recently I received the membership of the UNESCO chair of a member of UNESCO chair of Matanzas, Cuba, for my work for Neapolitan with for our identity, and also for the Congress for the our Congress Neapolitan language to promote the Neapolitan language. This is University of Matanzas, Cuba. Cátedra chair UNESCO chair of Matanzas, Cuba. The cooperation with Côte d'Ivoire, with my friend Fatou, with the embassy of Côte d'Ivoire, to realize a project of anti-colonization project, no? To defend our identity, our native language. Baoulé, Bété, for example, in Côte d'Ivoire, in Neapolitan. Also because in the Ivorian community teach, learn when they arrive in Naples, not just Italian, but the first language they learn is our Neapolitan native language. Also, we cooperate also with the embassy of Côte d'Ivoire. In this project, Luglio, in Neapolitan is we. Neapolitan, but we people that suffer our the same situation, similar situation. I also work with the Tzotzil, a community of origin, Maya origin, with Professor Carla del Carpio of the Northern University. I am here in this last October.
It looks like Dr. Verde has lost his connection. We have to wait till he is back with us.
I wonder if he understands he is not with us.
Do we have any connection with him other than?
No, I can write to him on email, but
Okay.
it won't be soon. Shall I?
Yeah, maybe it's a good idea at
Okay.
least to try.
Okay.
Okay, welcome back.
No. I
Great.
had the well, hi, condividi, share. Okay.
I think you were interrupted at the moment when you spoke about some
Yes,
Mayan
no,
language.
Yeah.
yeah. I was in Argentina last October. I was in Argentina last October, also in the well, with the Neapolitan community. With the Neapolitan community, we realized this free share of Neapolitan language and culture for our diaspora, because this is one other problem, because um, Italy worked in to eliminate our language to our history also, also abroad, no, for our diasporic community. So I tried to restore our language and culture with them. I was in Argentina, for example, in the UBA, I mean the University of Buenos Aires, because our project NUYO as is an international project for all the Neapolitan community, not just in Italy, but internationally. Also, as I said, for example, I cooperate with other entity, no, with the network, international network of social Latin American sociolinguistic. I'm here with Professor Cara del Carpio, that is the work for the University of Northern Colorado. We talk about the problem, no, the new technologies, the use of Neapolitan, of native languages such as Neapolitan, Tzotzil, towards thanks to the new technologies. But I explained that unfortunately to use new technology as TikTok or artificial intelligence or social network, it's also a problem for us, because this is because Italian school doesn't permit to learn our grammar, our orthography, and this is my work, my my resistance. This way, our children are in use new technologies in a bad way, because they use Neapolitan in a no correct form, and this is also to develop the other form of ignorance, you know. This is a problem. One other problem. I say that in the for this conference with the Professor Cader Carpio, and also with the UNESCO chair of the Matanza School. Also, I have to thanks to Professor Marisa Trecosilvent de la Universidad de Chiapas, Mexico. I work with Africa and also with the Burkina Faso, of course, to a work of decolonization. No? I learn from them, and we share information, no? With Cote d'Ivoire, with Burkina Faso, with Mexico, with the native community like Tzotzil, my origin, and also I cooperate with Professor Zuckerman, that is he works with a native Australian to revival their language, their native languages, and he work also. We stay in a good cooperation. So my work is a work of decolonization and a work of anti-fascist resistance, because this is I have to say that well, in 25 April is the day that in Italy is the liberation of from Nazi fascism. Well, in reality, this is the 25 April is just the liberation of the city of Milan, but Naples in the 1943, 2 years before, 45, in 4 days of Naples, my people liberated themselves from the Nazi fascist army before the arrival of the Anglo-American and so on. But in which way? I have to say that my people use Neapolitan with an instrument, a way of resistance. They organize anti-fascist resistance, anti-Nazi resistance in their and in my native language, Neapolitan. And this is very important to say. If we think about Gomorrah, this representation of a degraded woman or a Lombrosian ideology, we have to say that. And our children don't have the possibility to know correctly their native anti-fascist language. This is a shame. This is a great anthropological disaster. And I have to say that because Naples, in its entire history, always makes resistance with our culture, with our heritage. We resist against the most. This is also a common history with Russia. The most, the stronger army, not just Nazi, but also from French army in 1799. Naples, Neapolitan people, 60,000 Neapolitan was killed from French army of Napoleon to liberate Naples from the French occupation. And this is a common history because Russia, for me, it's a great honor to speak with you because our history is an history of resistance with our house, with our people, with our identity. And this is the problem in Italy since the so-called unification. They have fear about our anti-fascist identity. Also, for example, when we talk about Italian resistance, we talk in Italy, they talk about northern Italian resistance. The liberation of Milan in the north is the liberation of Italy now, because Naples liberated themselves with our language resistance 2 years before. But they are just considered something, a people that was managed by northern partisan. We have a great problem, Maestro, Kubrick. We have a great problem in Italy, historical problem in Italy. And the Neapolitan language is the way in which our, on the Italian, the nation, central national cultural power, try to destroy our culture, to make our culture just a puppet, to make our language something to sell for tourists. And this is, and the worst situation is that our people constantly, to say that or not to say that, because they are manipulated, they use this folklorization to put in march a sort of culture, but it's a disaster. So I cannot say that in Italy, because if I speak this way in Italy, they say that I am a monarchist, I am a Bourbonist. No, I'm just Neapolitan. Well, this is a book that I introduced to the fourth international culture and artistic exposition in Chiapas, and this is Nucera Tesoro Campano. I explained the Oscan origin of this our territory, and also a grammar and orthography for not just for children of Neapolitan. I have to thank you always, my maestros, Yandolo, Bracale, Defal. And one other, well, this is one other. This is a letter of the consulate of Nicaragua in Naples in Neapolitan language. I invite the consul to write. I help him to write a letter for the Congress we realized in the Justice Palace that I took before, and also I realized an infotouristic map to recover the indigenous toponymy, autonomy of Naples, because we have a different, toponymy in Naples. For example, different from the official toponymy. For example, we have the name of places we say in a different way. And this is from in Neapolitan from the Italian one. And yes, for example, another example of my paper in Neapolitan, in which I write directly in Neapolitan to explain all my activities, but also for example, we have the conference in Italian, in the culture in Athens, and also the conference that we realized for the University of Peloponnese to explain the Epicurean philosophy of our heritage, of our culture, and that it expresses, also in our language. In our language, for example, we have a term, an expression. It's very deeply. Neapolitan is sapegampa. It means to have the capacity to live well, But which way well? Well, to say sapegampa, this is a Neapolitan language, Epicurean expression of our language, means to have the capacity to live for the community, with other people in community, to share culture, to share heritage, but always to stay and to remain Neapolitan. Sapegamba. And also, finally, I want to, in some, also for example, we have some activities, for example, I realized also radio program for in Neapolitan for example, on the left. I am here on the radio to make a Neapolitan program, a sort of newspaper or telegiornale in Neapolitan, and also I am with the pupils in a school, and the introduction of the course of Neapolitan on the bottom on the left, and also I was in the United States for a serial with some conferences also on the national United Nations to explain. I gave a long interview at the La Voce di New York in the National Palace of the United States, the United Nations, to explain of my work about our situation. I'm in the Chapel of San Gennaro. It has another history, a document in Neapolitan and Italian double, bilingual for the pupil, Also on the left, at the Oscan University, to introduce my video documentary, Neapolis and Hellenic Campania. I realized this video documentary, a sort of social publicity of our land in Neapolitan, all ancient Greek and English. And finally, my book, Ocascincello, ossia The Little Baggage, that is a sort of alphabet, primary and also in Neapolitan for pupil, that I just translated in, not just in Neapolitan, but also in Spanish for the diasporic community in Argentina. Well, some activities I realized it, and I wish that we can stay in we can realize, and I wish some cooperation also with you, because I think that I know that you realize a work very interesting for me about the gesture, no? MCD, multi-channel discourse. It's correct. Yeah. Well, this is very, very, very interesting for us because we use, no? In Neapolitan language, it's not just a verbal or a written, but it's very deeply just a language of gesture. Gesture. It is very important because in this gesture, for example, no, this is a correct way. This is what do you want. This is you are full. I want to drink. I want to eat. Go away. For example, no, and also with the also these gestures are mutuated from also ancient Greek and also from Oscan, because the Roman Latin theater, the Roman represented on the theater the Atellane. Atellane was they were the representation, no? The theatrical representation in Oscan language, not Latin. Then they translated in Latin. But for example, the masks, the people that invented the ancient masks, like Pulcinella or other, are the Oscan. So we have this kind of heritage in our culture, in our language. But today, we suffer an anthropological and cognitive disaster because we don't have the possibility to teach to our generation the value of this culture, the value of this language. So we are trapped, urban, cabaret, Gomorrah, victimization, on the heroin, isolated heroin that fight in a social disaster. Our community is introduced, represented always with something of difference, social difference, in a folkloristic and, well, in a paternalistic and indigenous way. And when I use indigenous, I think with an example, with something that when you arrive at the away, and woman, I don't know if she work. Not stop, please. When I don't know where the radio. It's very. Just a moment. Alexa, stop. I don't know why, because this is one other problem of our technology. Well, when I said no, we are introduced like in an indigenous way. For example, when I use this term, not this word, I think about For example, when someone arrive at a way in the airport of a way, she or he finds a woman with the ballet in some in this folkloric ballet, and this is for me indigenism. Indigenism is the use and the merchandising of a culture, of an identity, and this is the actual situation of linguistics. The problem is that the majority of my community doesn't understand that it is and they are an object of this kind of selling. This is a great problem because they don't have the possibility to understand, to know correctly our language, our heritage, our culture. So my work is an international work because in Italy it's very hard. The proof is that it is very, very hard. So I cooperate with Africa, with Latin America, with the diaspora, with every side of the world. I have the privilege to speak with you. I cannot speak in an Italian university in this way. So to return to your model, no, the MCD model, maybe in the future we could work about the application of Neapolitan model to your model. Who knows if you like the idea, and also to show in which way our deeply resistance with the gesture, it's a resistance against the homologation, because our deeply heritage is the bottom, the resistance with any kind of homologation, also Catholic, because we are Catholic, but we are in a Neapolitan way to be Catholic. Mm-hmm. This is very important. And also, I want to say this. Naples, in Naples, Naples is the only one city in Italy that never had ghetto, never. And this is also very important. So I wish to stay in touch and to explore every possibilities to cooperate in a in a work of decolonization against any kind of homologation. I like when your president, no, Vladimir Putin, say identity. I feel that very deeply because it's a humanist identity, anti-fascist identity, but this an identity. It's not against or of a supremacy, no, but it's I cannot speak to you. I cannot respect you as Russian if I don't respect myself. If I don't have an identity, I have a Neapolitan identity. So I am proud to speak with you because I know the privilege to speak with you, because I know that you respect your identity, not against mine, but respect yourself. This is my approach. When I cooperate, for example, with my friends, for example, they work with Aborigine from Australia or in social community, I approach them with respect, because I respect for my identity. So it's a myth of identities, not a shock. It's a myth. This is in our culture. Lo conto degli conti, the tale of tales, is a perfect example. Giambattista Basile recovered the fare from east to China to west, but in an harmonic way, he used Neapolitan language. In our language persist Oscan, Greek, Valencian, Catalan, Persi, but we don't. They are like pieces of our identity. They build our identity, but I'm not Persi, I'm Neapolitan. I'm not Catalan, I'm Neapolitan. My language is all this, and all that cultures survive in full harmony. But our children don't know, because Italian state don't want they know. They have to appreciate Gomorrah, fiction, heroine, solitary heroine, something, the Lombrosian genres. This is our approach for the Italian system. And the international movies, the international mainstream. If I speak in it, if I can speak, I can discuss with you also Neapolitan about this. But if, an example, if I come in, well, I cannot because I have no possibility to go at the TV program, no? If I speak in Neapolitan, the public, no, the start to smile. But if I speak in Neapolitan about this problem, I think that is a great problem for the Italian TV, because I don't move myself in the way they want. Example, I try to translate. Ti posso parlare di tutte quelle che stiamo dicendo, tutte cose. Posso parlare in Basile, posso parlare lo teatro, posso parlare la lingua media. I can speak in Neapolitan about theater, Giambattista Basile, about all that we are about our conversation. But I cannot use my language in my country in this way. And this is a great problem. But I can speak in Neapolitan in to make smile, to make about to say, oh, we are Neapolitan, we have a great culture, but in this way. In which way? I cannot say that my government my state take me away about my culture, my heritage, my language. I cannot say that. Maybe I can say, and I can say that to a Russian maestro like you and Professor Olga. I remember when the some years ago, no, some days ago, I I saw a scene about the President Putin to talk about with a Deutsch, a German people, German man, and they say, and they ask, why do you speak in English, not in Dutch, in the German? This is the example. I prefer. So for me, it's very important to speak about all these in la lingua me, in my language. It's very important. So if you can be interested to follow this conversation in other with Olga, in other way to put together a sort of, if, for example, I would love very much that we can realize a sort of note or a sort of article about this conference, a summary of this conference that we can publish, or I can send to Argentina and also to the UNESCO because we have a great problem too, because Neapolitan has got a ISO code as a language, but maybe Italian state, the local and national intelligentsia work to eliminate this. So so maybe we can we cooperate also with the local indigenous language of your country in the way I cooperate with the Bete, Baule, with the Burkina Faso, also Sil, to put a sort of cooperation to make to realize article publication or any sort of course with your work. If I can, I wish contribute to your model, to your work with our Neapolitan experience, historical heritage, for me it will be wonderful, a privilege. So let me know, please.
Okay. Dr. Verde, are you finished with your talk?
I think that we say the abbastanza. We say the everything in a very synthetic way, but I think that it's quite clear. This is our situation.
Okay, thank you very much for your presentation. And I feel like I have visited in Naples, although I haven't been there for 30 years. But now I know something that I didn't know before. And it's time to ask questions and make comments and discuss the topic of Dr. Verde's presentation. Please, who is willing to ask a question or make a comment?
I'm here.
Okay, Artyom, please, you are welcome.
Yeah, maybe I can start. Do you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, just
Okay. Thank you very much for your presentation. Now, I also know a lot about Naples and language situation there. But as a typologist, maybe I would like to ask a bit more broad question. Can you return to the language map, maybe on the first or on the second slide? Yeah, on the first slide. And we see that the map of Italian languages is quite diverse. and
Yeah.
we have a lot of languages, and this situation is for Europe, I suppose, is quite rare, because of course there are dialects in many regions, but not so much as we see here. And I would like to ask you about institutional support. I know that there are some problems in Italy, but if we could compare the language situation of these regions in terms of institutional support, speaking about Sicilian and Lombardian and so on, in your opinion, which languages for now have the best situation?
Oh, the best situation for now. Well, we have to say that Italian state didn't ratify the European Chart of Languages. This is the first step. We have a law that preserve, that recognize as a language Ladin, Friulan, and Sardinian, but the problem is that the Italian state don't want. So I have to explain. Actually, the worst situation is Neapolitan and Sicilian for historical reason. The other languages are not protected from Italian state, but they are in a situation, I think, it's not so, they have no so speakers. For example, Lombard or Piemontese. That's why. Because for the immigration, for the Neapolitan immigration, Sicilian immigration, no? The diaspora, for historical, a political, a colonialist problem. And so, for example, vitality is the Venetian. Venetian language is quite strong, but also, like Neapolitan and Sicilian, is not protected. It's not recognized as a language. So, politically, the worst, the situation is in danger for Neapolitan and Sicilian. The other language are in are much more vulnerable because they are not spoken. They are not, and this is so is a different situation. While Neapolitan and Sicilian, for example, also if in a no correct way, no, because Italian state doesn't permit to teach, and if the Italian state interview with the Accademia della Crusca, with Florence, we have Florence that want to teach us Neapolitan or Sicilian. This is our situation.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank you very much.
So-
And the next question is by Erjan Vladimirovna, пожалуйста.
Thank you. Dear Dr. Verde, thank you for your great presentation. I was very impressed, and particularly I was impressed by the broad anthropological perspective you used to consider the problem of Neapolitan language. So indeed, I agree with you that stereotypes and images imposed on us by the global cultural industry, mass media industry, and film industry, yes, can be very harmful for prestige and use of minority languages. I got such an impression from your presentation that you look like a lone warrior in the field, a lone warrior for Neapolitan language, so to say. And my question is, first, the internet says that there are more than 7 million, and to be exact, 7.5 million speakers of Neapolitan language. And what about the community of speakers? It's a big number, more than 7 million people. And what do these people do for their language and for their identity? And what about your allies, scholars, I don't know,
Yeah.
teachers, language teachers? What can they do, and what is the attitude of community, itself?
Oh, the attitude is very, very positive. The problem, allora, for example, when I realized that two, no, three, yeah, three courses here from the European Social Fund. I realized the two courses of Neapolitan language and culture. The problem is not the community. The problem is the teachers. The problem is the school, because they treat this like something of okay, it's good. Talk about Neapolitan, explain something, but our teachers are not have not. They have to follow national program. They uh, they don't understand the importance to teach and to defend our language, because they are, well, I have to explain that they are in an Italian way attitude. So, for example, I have a photo. I don't I couldn't put this picture that recently appears, no, in Naples. About, well, we have a picture of a child that she has a paper, no, to show that she is very happy about that our traditional space, cultural space is open now with a payment. But it's very symbolic, because she is a paper. It's a, let's say she said, no, I'm happy that this this space it's open. This space of cultural space is open, but people now have to pay to enter. And this paper is with the honorable Neapolitan. And we have the pictures with this child, and she's happy. She think that this language, this Neapolitan, is correct. And we have the mayor of Naples, the representation of the Church of Naples, and this child with this horrible paper. This is the synthesis of our situation. She is happy because she think that she wrote in a correct language, but no one say this is not your language. And if this picture is public, is in the Facebook, terrible. For me, it's a shame, because if I put my comment, under this picture, well, it's a problem. So the community is ready. Pupils are ready to know. They want to know, but at one side, school or Italian school doesn't permit to learn their correctly, their grammar, their orthography, so on. And the other side, the mass media and the cultural power, Italian power, use this necessity, this pride, of our language, because we have this pride in our we are proud of our identity, but they use all that to sell, to manipulate. This is the worst disaster. So the community is very ready to learn, but they have not the possibility to learn correctly because the mainstreaming on one side doesn't permit that, and on the other side, they use our identity to make business. My work is with the terrible problem, with terrible difficulties, to approach the community and to explain, to show Locunto degli Conti, our theater, our heritage, the Oscan, the Greek, but in the correct and the deeply way, not to tell book, not to make fiction, not to make movies. And when you work for the identity without make business, you are a great problem for the power. I work not for business. If I can sell some book, okay, it's good. But it's not my objective. I have to realize a free share of Neapolitan language and culture in Argentina. I cannot realize this in Naples. Because in Naples, for the Neapolitan Academy, well, you have to say that, for example, no? Maybe you know that. In the Neapolitan University, we have courses of dialectology. Because for the member of Neapolitan University, they are member also of the Accademia della Crusca. This is the problem. So we have Neapolitan teachers that are members of Florence, of the organization that have to promote Italian standards. For example, I found a similar situation in Valencia. Maybe my Catalan friends are not agree, but the situation is that in Valencia, for example, they have an institution that is a Real Accademia de Cultura Valenciana with the normativization of Valencian with the specific language. Then for political interest between Madrid and Barcelona was realized one other academy, AUVEL. O sea, perdón, estaba hablando en español. It means Accademia Valenciana de la Lengua. Accademia Valenciana de la Lengua is an institution that say that that Valencian is a sort of dialect of Catalan. And curiosity, it's very strange, not very strange, that in Naples, when the professor of Neapolitan University organize events for Neapolitan dialect, not language, they invite this organization, Catalanist organization. Very strange. They invited some association in Naples that acts like in a folkloric way, not for civil right of my people, and they doesn't invite me. because I talk about human rights of our people, not about folklore, not about cabaret, and not about all that I tried with my my English, my supposed English today. This is the problem. So I cooperate with every entities in all around the world that fight for civil rights as human rights, towards identities, towards native languages. This is my work. For the first moment with the Accademia Napoletana, and also now with this free chair, and also with the friends of the UNESCO chair of University of Matanzas, Cuba. And you know that Cuba is in a terrible situation in this time. So this is why I try, and I want to thank you so much. And first, the Professor Olga, I try to communicate to you, not just to say we are desperate, we are, no, but to fight, because I like to fight. I like to make this my battle, but not just my battle, the cultural battle for every people that are in a similar situation, indigenous, autonomous, or native people. This is an international cultural battle for human rights, not just for orthography and grammar. And this is the principal problem that I have in Italy, not abroad.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Next question, Camila, please.
Hello, do you hear me? Do you see me? It's okay.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
First of all, thank you for this conference. Very, very interesting. I would like to speak Italian, but I need to speak English now. So what do I want? I have two ideas to tell you. First of all, about language policy. It refers the language policy and the law for that is very well known in Europe, and it's very well known in Italy, number 482 of 1999, that protects that protects linguistic and historical minorities in Italy. I think, from my point of view, the problem of Napolitan is that it's not. It doesn't take part of this law. You know that the linguistic and historic minorities. What are they? For example, Greek, French, Franco-Provençal, and others. But every language or dialect. This is the problem. Napolitan or others. We can find it in this law. This is the first idea that I had, and I think that
problem.
is it possible
It's a
to
political
enter
problem.
to yes? Is it possible? The first question: is it possible to be recognized as language and to be protected by this law? This is the first idea, and the second idea. I was very impressed by your phrase when you said, "My mother is not that. She speaks Napolitan, but with dignity." And the linguistic term that I got immediately was linguistic insecurity. So maybe you could tell us something about it. And I think this is it should be. I don't know if it is really shown in the scientific way. I don't know that maybe there are some articles about it, but I don't know them. I speak, frankly speaking, I don't know it. I don't know about it. But I think it's a real problem that should be shown and should be studied. Thank you. La ringraziamo veramente, è stato molto molto interessante. Non parlo napolitano, ma parlo solo italiano standard.
Non è un problema. Non è un it's not a problem. If you want, I teach you something, some of Neapolitan. Si può imparare un po' di napolitano.
Grazie.
Well, to return. Well, the problem is political because to confirm to recognize Neapolitan as a language in Italy, it's recognize this is the problem, the ancient Neapolitan nation. And this is not something of made of something of invention, no, because we know, for example, no, that before Italian, so-called Italian unification, we had a Neapolitan nation. Because, for example, in a trade, we know that documents say about treaty, commercial treaty, about treaties with the Neapolitans. For example, no, in Marseille, in French, we have the commercial exchange. No, there are documents say Neapolitans. First, the problem is political, and the problem we have that the problem is we have one other problem. Maybe one day Neapolitan will be recognized as a language, but who will teach Neapolitan will be the same that are working to destroy it. First. Second, this is also I wrote about this. No, this is also a violation of the rights of women, because apart this degradation, this international social degradation that I try to that in this image, no, this is a movie. Because, for example, I make an example. When I was child, when I spoke Neapolitan, my mother said to me, Massimiliano, speak well. It means your language is something of bad. Your heritage is something of bad. Your culture, our culture, is something of bad. And this is a real violation of the rights of the woman, according to the Convention of Istanbul. We have the Signora Gentile of the movie, the degraded representation, 17 articles of the Convention of Istanbul. And this is also a violation of the Convention against the violence against women, because we have one state towards mass media, towards school, that teach to the mother, that is the source of the education of the future men, that they say to my mother, I don't know why this is a okay, Alexa, stop. I don't know why. The state said to my mother, you have to teach your child to have shame of his language. It's terrible. It's a violence against a woman, like a mother, and against the child. And this is the aspect of the problem, the deeply aspect of the problem. So, to return, I say to my mother, to reply to you, Camilla, I say to my mother, well, Mama, You make me, when I was child, you make me, well, I try to explain that, no? That to her. Well, to make me a violence, mama. But you are not responsible. Why? As a not is responsible my grandmother, your mother, because we, when I was at to speak some years ago to a community of church, San Gennaro, and there were mothers and pupils in this occasion, no? And I try to explain, no, that our language is not something too bad. To explain example, culture example, etc. One mother said to me, or one woman said to me, but yes, it's correct. It's our language is something of good. You said you make some excellent examples, but in the school, at the school, they don't want that our children speak to Neapolitan. I say to that woman, please, come on here. Can you repeat to the entire community this? And she repeat. At school, they don't want that our children speak to Neapolitan. So it's a political problem. It's a problem of the Italian state. Because I think that a democratic state, I say that the similar thing also at the New York University in the accusation of the 25 April. They say, well, we have to in this day we have to remember the liberation. Just moment. The 25th April is the liberation of Milan. Naples in 1943 liberated themselves with the Neapolitan resistance, with our language against our resistance in the 1943, the 4 days of Naples. Attention. So I said the similar thing at the New York University. This is when a state is not fully democratic, it don't want to protect the freedom. The Italian state has fear of our culture. So, since the 1861, try to use our heritage to sell our heritage. When, for example, no, the Italian state, recently, the Italian state tried to promote to UNESCO the Neapolitan song, Canzone Classica Napoletana, classical Neapolitan song, as a world heritage, no? Our cities, the historical center of Naples, is a world site of UNESCO. But I mean, the Italian state tried to promote for its interest Neapolitan song as a world heritage without teach Neapolitan. It's very strange. Without recognize our language as a language. This is a paradox, no? And the toxic paradox, finally, that I want to repeat is the use of our heritage to sell in any direction, but to represent our heritage with that something that Eugenio Montale said, no? The shell without soup, osso di seppia. This is actually all that Italian and international mainstream do about our heritage. Neapolitan is everywhere in television, in television, in music, in the mass media, in fiction, in movies. But it's a Neapolitan. But in the same time, at the same time, our children cannot speak correctly. They don't have the possibility to speak and to write correctly our language. They don't know who is Giambattista Basile, Eduardo De Filippo, our theater, but at the same time, Neapolitan is everywhere. This is the toxic brand, because as an intellect, supposed intellect, Neapolitan intellect, said, Napoli vende bene. Naples sells well, in a good way. But who sell Naples? This is the problem. Naples is in sell. This is a great problem. Also, for example, no, everyone said about the American Cup. This is another synthesis of the problem. They realized the American Cup without eliminate the toxic situation of Bagnoli, of our land. This is to sell our land and our heritage, and our language is in sell in the same time. I think that Naples in this moment is the best merchandising for not just for Italian, but for the international mainstream. Now, more than always. And our language is in this situation, is in this packet, in this baggage. And the terrible thing is that also my people use all this to survive. This is the final and disaster situation. My people use this brand, toxic brand, to survive. This is the final and the most dangerous problem for the resistance of our community. Stop. But this is the problem.
Thank you very much, Dr. Verde. I will also ask one question. The first question by Artyom was about comparison between Neapolitan and other languages inside Italy. And let me ask you about your perspective, a broader perspective. All of us know that other big Western European countries such as France, Germany, Britain, they also have huge variation of local varieties. And can you briefly compare situation in Italy with those countries? And from two perspectives. One is the perspective of local identities, to what extent they exist and are salient in those countries, and the second perspective of the government and the official point of view. So which of those countries are similar to Italy in their attitudes, and which are most different?
Well, I think that our situation for this, at least in Europe, is unique because we talk about language, no, a linguistic heritage. We just, for example, in Italy, no, in Italy we name about we speak about 8 million, no, just to in the central southern Italy. So we have a much maybe that's for that the problem is very unique because we have the maybe the second most spoken language in Italy, but treated like a dialect with something in this way, no, and also under this under an ideological and social pressure, no, political pressure to transform all this heritage, as I said, as something to sell. I think that our situation is maybe we can compare we in maybe in some situation in Africa, in Latin America, but I think that in Europe, no other community like us, maybe yes, in Italian Sicilian, sure. Maybe our friends from Sicilian is, but Naples is something of is a is a more selling brand, no? I think that our situation is compared we can compare the way our situation with the indigenous population of Africa or Latin America. That's why I cooperate with people, no, with friends in Africa or Latin America. But in Europe, for example, an example of resistance, I think that is Irish resistance, no, not with the similar situation, but Irish and Basque, Los Países Vascos. And I have a kind friend in Argentina of Basque origin, and she immediately understood our situation. But if I speak with an Italian, he said, "You are totally crazy." But she is from of the Basque origin. She immediately understood our situation. But finally, our situation is not. It's a similar, maybe extra European communities. I don't know which is the situation in Russia, for example, with the local. I don't know, but I don't think that your country permits all that is permitted in Italy with the Neapolitan and also Sicilian. I have to say.
Okay, well, thank you so much both for your talk and for your answers in the discussion period. I think we learned a lot during our today's session, and as you suggested, let's keep in touch and continue exchanging ideas and possible ways to cooperate. It's very interesting, and let us thank Dr. Verde one more time for his excellent presentation.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And also thanks to all of the participants of the discussion who asked great questions. So I guess we can conclude now. We've been working for over 2 hours now, and I look forward to our future interaction with you, Dr. Verde.
My pleasure. It's a great opportunity for me. Thank you so much to you all, to you, Maestro, to Olga, and to everyone. and maybe, and if you want, if it's possible, to transform this conference, this conversation, in an article for your institute. If you like the idea, why not? If you want. A
Yeah,
synthesis.
actually, we were recording the meeting, so you can get the recording. And nowadays, it's pretty easy to convert recording of speech into a text and produce an article. There is a number of journals in Russia that publish articles on similar topics, so you are welcome to do that if you wish.
Okay, thank you so much. And we stay in touch with my great pleasure. If you want, we can stay in touch. We can find, if you want, the way to follow in for a possible cooperation. Maybe, as I suggest, if you like the idea, to investigate the opportunity to put together to your model our experience, no? Our experience of resistance, real resistance.
Okay, let's stay in touch. Thank you very much
Thank
one
you.
more time. And so let's conclude our today's meeting and we'll meet again next month.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ciao, ciao. State buone, Napolitan. Stay well. Stay fine.
Okay, ciao.
Grazie.
Ciao, ciao. Grazie. Thank you so much.